partners. Welcome to the Haunted Chronicles, episode 147. Last week we had a 2-hour Lollapalooza with UFO and alien abduction researcher Kathy Martin. Tonight's guest is Becky Gydesen, an investigator and founder of Tucson Ghost Society. And Becky is in our green room, resting comfortably, sipping on some hot cocoa, and will join us shortly. I am Mr. Haunted, joined by Jennifer Jigglypuff Runyon and Brock the Wild Weedle Burroughs.
Hey!
Wild Weedle.
Hey, fellas.
Jigglypuff is back in the house.
Jennifer, can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Now, wait a minute. You just warned everybody about this. Explain.
Wait, what? What?
You just warned everybody.
Oh, I'm back in the house.
I said, can you hear me?
Yeah. Oh, no! Do you see what happens to me, Jimmy? My mind, it's like, here today, gone tomorrow. Boop, boop, thought out of my head. Minute it's gone, it's gone. Yes, no, I posted, guys. Okay, hey, everybody, I'm so glad to be back. I was no power last week, so I couldn't even go on the internet. But there's a thing that they say that now there's a weird telemarketing thing or whatever it is, scam, that if somebody calls and you answer hello and they're like, oh, can you hear me? Can you hear me? And if you say yes, you get charged for something. I don't know how this works. It's probably a scam, but yes, the answer is no.
They record your voice claiming that you okayed whatever transaction that they gave to you, and that's their proof.
Yes.
So what if you say, I'd be hearing you?
I don't know.
Maybe we could screw them up a lot by, fiddlesticks. I don't know.
God swallow.
Or Christopher Columbus. I don't know.
Well,
or start singing Adele. Hello? Can you hear me?
Can you hear? I don't even know that song. Isn't that terrible?
Dave can sing it for us.
Can he?
I doubt it, but he could try. So how's everyone been?
Well, I've been good. I'm good. Everything's good here. I'm glad to be back. We had horrible storms. It was like I was waiting for the ark to come down my street at any moment, but we survived, and everything's good here. How about you, Brock?
Been pretty good. Work is expanding. We're taking on some another couple departments. And so my job function will change to more of a manager role instead of a grunt, as I like to say it. So it's exciting, but it's also going to be hectic for about a year. And so lots of heroin and cocaine will get me through it. Everyone on here probably thinks I'm a drug addict or something. Jimmy smacking his arm, get in there, get that needle in there. But
God.
Oh wow.
Oh dear.
We're off the
make
reservation.
the show that much better.
You don't need drugs for this show. But no, it's been a good week. It seemed long, and it's the weirdest week. If you live in Virginia, and I'm sure it's probably all of the East Coast, we had 70s earlier in the week and severe thunderstorms and all that, and now it's like 30 degrees, 29 degrees outside, and all day today it was like upper 30s with 40-mile-per-hour wind gust. So it's like we had all seasons in 1 week.
Wow.
Yeah, it's crazy. But it's been, we're here. It's Friday.
Can I hear that again, Arnold?
Stop whining.
Oh. That hurts my feelings.
I know. I was whining too. I think it was for both of us.
But
Brock.
but it's been a good week, and it's Friday, so we're gonna blast it off.
Yeah. And now, Jimmy. Jimmy, how are you doing?
Well, the moment dozens have been waiting for. I'm happier than a Nigerian river otter wearing a frickin' cowboy hat that climbed to the top of the Ferris wheel, and he's hitting his sparkly green tambourine over his head like he's Anson Williams. And
Yeah.
Wow.
most of you
Uh-huh.
don't know who Anson Williams is. He was Patsy Weber in Happy Days.
That's right.
Patsy Weber.
Patsy Weber.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
hilarious.
It's just worth coming to the show just to hear that.
It's
Oh, yeah.
worth the admission.
Yeah. Yeah. And I made sure that our guest, Becky, has some nice marshmallows for that yummy hot chocolate we got in there. I made sure we stocked up. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Well,
They're shaped like snowflakes.
I have breaking news.
Whoa. Oh.
Well, first, I want to thank everyone for all the messages and questions that I've been getting about Hostage to the Devil movie. And on January 31st, Marty Stalker and Chris Patterson, the director and producer of Hostage to the Devil, that's been on Netflix for about a week now, will do a live online Q&A, and it will be conducted on Facebook Live. And you could find that on the Hostage to the Devil Facebook page. And like they're doing that, I think, January 31st at 4 p.m. Eastern. But it's on their page. So they're going to have a live question and answer so they can answer all their questions. I got so many questions from so many people.
It was a good movie.
Yeah.
Documentary, whatever. It was.
Yeah,
it
I
was
loved
really
it.
done. Yeah, it was well done.
Yeah.
I heard through a little bird that said it was number 2 in the horror section or whatever, the most watched. So that's pretty good for a documentary.
I screamed.
Great.
I screamed like a little girl when I saw Jimmy, and I just ran up and tried to give him a kiss on the cheek and wanted his autograph.
Oh,
Get a screen capture.
a little hug for Jimbo. Hey, you were so adorable in this. You were great. Well, adorable's not a great guy word. You were awesome. Seriously, it was so fun to see you, and you know it was emotional, that movie. I mean, they did a good job telling his story, I thought.
Yeah. There was, and it was very positive overall. And then that one guy who started out positive, and then just like went crazy on him.
Yeah, and then nobody further thought. That's the only thing I would say I wish they would have done is either we're not going to tell anybody what he said, because that'll make them watch it. There was no follow up.
No, there was some people that said that I saw on message boards and stuff. I really didn't like the movie. I don't agree with this, or I don't believe in it, or whatever. And then the person's like, how many times do you watch it? I watched it 3 times, but they're watching it over and over again.
Aw, it was really well done, I thought.
Yeah,
really well done. It was nice to see Ralph. Nice to see Ralph Sarchi in there, and it was great.
I was saying I talked to Ralph for like an hour yesterday, and I was talking like him the rest of the day. And I just stopped this morning.
Yes, you did. When you pointed it out to me, you've abandoned the accent.
I'll try to keep my whatever accent I have. People in the chat, what kind of accent do I have? Thank you. Okay, before we got to get to our guest. She's her cocoa's getting cold. We're gonna do celebrity birthdays, play along in the chat and at home. And it was slim pickings this week, but we went all the way back to Morgan Fairchild, who was in The Encounter, American Horror House, you got to say that properly, the TV series Roswell, Sybil, and the Haunting of Sarah Hardy. Morgan Fairchild.
Morgan Fairchild. Do you want me to go first, Brock?
Yes, because last week you weren't here and I only got one right.
Okay. I'll set up for you because you're like the king of this. I don't know how old she is, but I for some reason 71 is hitting in my brain, so I'm going to say she's going to turn 72.
I'm thinking upper 60s. I'm thinking 68.
Very close. She'll be 67 this.
That's what I meant to say. So.
Oh.
She was
And
just a kid.
you know what? I just saw her too. I feel bad. 71, 72. That was not very nice. I just saw her in Chicago at that convention I went to. She was there as well. She's so beautiful. It's scary. She looks great. Okay.
Yeah, I liked her.
Yeah. Yeah, I do too.
And how about Gene Hackman, who was in Young Frankenstein, Ride with Terror, A Covenant with Death, The Poseidon Adventure, The Unforgiven, and was Lex Luthor in 1978's Superman.
I love him. Okay. I'm going to go higher and say 75. I'm probably so low.
I'm gonna W and double W. I'm gonna W. I'm gonna double U, not the letter W.
All right.
And 80. What'd you say? You said 75.
Yeah.
85.
Yeah. Oh, this is intense.
Did we lose Jimmy?
No, I'm right here. I didn't hear you. I'm sorry.
85.
He'll be 87.
Oh. Well, he likes me now.
Yeah.
He likes me.
And one more we got. Lorraine
Okay.
Warren, paranormal investigator, author, and lecturer who founded the New England Society for Psychic Research with her husband Ed in 1952. Buckle my
Shoe.
And she's appeared in The Conjuring and Hostage to the Devil. How old will Lorraine Warren be on January 31st?
Boy, and I should know this because I'm on the show with you, but I don't. So I'm just going to say 88.
Dave.
Dave
What
gets
is Dave doing?
117.
He's at 117. If she's not in her
It's lower
90s,
than that.
yeah, if she's not in her 90s, she's going to be 90. She's got to be. She's got to be 90.
91.
Ooh, you were
So she is
closer.
90. Yeah.
Wow.
Oh, sometimes you get a buzzer,
Wow.
sometimes you get a buzz.
Oh.
Finally, our guest was just leaving. I pulled her back in. Our guest
Good.
tonight is the founder and lead investigator of Tucson Ghost Society. She hosts Mysteries Explained that can be heard on iporadio.com every Thursday from 4 to 7 p.m. Mountain Time. And she runs the Tucson Ghost Company that conducts tours of haunted locations. Becky Gydesen. Becky!
Welcome.
Hi.
Hi.
Hi, Beck.
Hello.
Have you ever heard anything like this in your life?
Every week.
How was the cocoa and marshmallows? Was it good today?
Oh, yes. It was wonderful.
Thank you. Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
You did great.
We want to hear all about your tour and stuff. But how did you how did you first become interested in the paranormal?
I grew up in a haunted house.
What happened?
In Toledo, Ohio, I was raised in a haunted house. It was built in the 1800s, and it always just had this spooky feeling in certain sections after, nighttime, and I refused to go in certain areas. So that kind of piqued my curiosity. And then when I was in my 20s, I lived once again in a haunted place. But this time it was very haunted, and it actually broke one of my pictures on my walls.
Ooh. What happened?
Yeah. Basically, I was home with my daughter at the time, who was only like a year old, and I heard this loud bang. And I went to look what it was, and I saw broken glass and the picture on the floor, but the frame itself had actually flipped on the wall. And I could not figure out how that happened. I could not have a reason for that happening. So that kind of really piqued my curiosity in the paranormal.
Wow. And did anything else happen in the house, like any sightings or voices or anything like that?
Just the fact that I felt uncomfortable in certain rooms in the house, but that was the main thing that happened, was that picture breaking. And at the time, I didn't know much about the paranormal, so I didn't know to go do EVP sessions or anything like that. So,
Right. So then, and here, where you live presently, is everything calm or?
where I live now, no.
No.
It is right now
Oh.
for this minute, but
Oh, so you still have
actually right
something
now
in
for
this place.
minute, yeah, well, I have things that follow me home all the time.
Oh.
So, and plus I have 4 kids, so it's never going to be calm here. Never.
Right.
But any time I investigate, things follow me home. So I usually have a ghost that comes and goes. And then it gets too hectic for them and they leave. So.
Wow.
Pesky. So, to tell us about your tours first. How did you get started with that? And then you could tell us maybe some of the places you show people.
Well, it all started when my curiosity in the paranormal kicked up, and I went looking for ghost tours to go on. And the closest one I found was down in Bisbee. And I went down there, and I got to know the owner, and got to talking to her, and found out that she used to own a tour in Tucson, but she stopped doing it.
Mm-hmm.
And one thing led to another, and I ended up buying the rights to the tour. So I bought the rights to the tour. I opened it up. I ran it under her information for about a month and a half before getting my own connections and my own stories. So I closed it down, redid the entire tour, and reopened it as completely my own, basically. I've been doing this since 2013 now, so I've been running the tour company. One of our locations that we hit is a restaurant called La Cocina, and they are our starting point for the tour, and they are also where I do my ghost hunts. So we have a ghost hunting experience, and we do that there at La Cocina.
What happens at La Cocina? What's the activity there?
There's quite a few. La Cocina, parts of the complex was actually built in the 1800s. We know for sure that one building was around in the 1880s. It was part of the original Presidio Wall here in Tucson, and the Presidio Wall was where some of the first settlers came and stayed in Tucson. Mm-hmm. So since about 1775, people have been in that area of town. We know for sure that there is a couple different cowboys there. One cowboy in particular likes to pinch women on the butt. Mm-hmm. And there are some children there, some older ladies there. We did find out that during World War II, this was also a complex that people came and stayed in when their husbands and children went off to war. So the ladies came and lived together and helped each other out in that area too. So a lot of history there, and we know of at least 6 different spirits that still roam there today.
Wow. Have you been pinched yourself when you've been there?
Yes, yes, I have.
Have you really? Oh my God.
Glad you asked it.
Yes.
I know. I want to know. I mean, was it definitely oh my God, okay, oh my God, I just got pinched on my...
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Yeah, and
That's
it's funny
crazy.
because, it's not the first time I've been pinched, and I always blame my husband for it, but he's never around when I get pinched, so.
Oh. He needs to get a hint.
Maybe, I don't know.
Oh my gosh. So when you go in this location, obviously it's still a restaurant, right? I mean, they serve food there. It's an open establishment, right?
Yes, it is. It's actually a couple different things today. It's a restaurant / bar, and they have shops in there. And one of the shops that they have in there is actually an antique shop. So, what can happen with antiques and object attachments, they sometimes even bring more spirits in there. So,
oh, how fun. Wow.
Yeah, it's definitely a very interesting place.
And for the listeners, I'm sharing your link in the chat, but I have TucsonGhostTour.com. That's how people could find you?
Yes, that is the link. Yeah.
Okay.
Yep, and that has information about the tours, the hunt, and my paranormal team too.
Oh. What? Tell us some of the more interesting cases that you've investigated with your team off the tour.
Oh gosh.
How about
Well,
your
we've
first one?
done
I
a
was reading
couple.
about your first one that you had.
Oh, my
I'm trying
very
to-
first one
Yeah.
that I did as a team. Yeah, that is at an undisclosed bar because it's
Yes,
under
yes.
some ownership. So unfortunately, I can't say where it was. But yes, it was so interesting. I wrote about it on my article, Tucson Happenings, last month, actually. And we literally were sitting down. We were the only ones in the building. We could hear footsteps coming up to us. My hair got played with nonstop. And I actually did have a ghost from that location that followed me around for a good 6 months. Like everywhere I went, we would get his voice on the EVP.
Oh, wow.
And he had a very distinct voice, so we knew it was him. And my kids actually nicknamed him Richie because he was just so common, to hear. And, my husband saw, the shadow. I saw his shadow. We just got used to him being around, and we just started calling him Richie.
So did that name that name? Did it ever give its name on EVP, or what kind of things did it say?
No, we never got his name on EVP. He was kind of a smart aleck because whenever I would say, things, he would kind of give a smart, tone response back to me. So, like, if I would say, I hope you're not negative, he would respond back with something like, well, Jesus Christ, or something like that. So
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
he would never really give me the information I wanted.
I've said before that in one house, this lady was getting EVPs at will on her phone right in front of us, and I wanted some of my own, and it wouldn't give me anything, and would give her. It was just totally ignoring me purposely. So I said, "How come you won't give me anything?" And it finally gave me one. It said, "You're a jerk." I said, "Okay, I understand."
Oh, my God. He did not like you,
Yeah.
Jim.
A smart ghost.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, they don't always give you the answers you want.
Yeah.
So it's mostly like when this one would follow you, it was mostly you'd get the voice phenomenon. You would hear him.
And see him. There would be a couple times that I saw his shadow. Yeah.
Oh, wow.
One night it really freaked me out because I'm laying in bed and I open my eyes and his shadow's at the foot of my bed. So
Yeah, that's a little unsettling. That's a little unsettling.
So with the 4 kids, did they ever see or experience anything in the house, and how do you explain it to them? Or
they do. My oldest has seen an older lady come in her room. The other kids have heard like another kid playing in the house before. It's something to where they know what I do for a living. I explain it to them. I have 4 kids. They're all girls. Their ages 5, 9, 13, and 17. The 5-year-old has interacted with a ghost and not knowing it was a ghost.
Oh.
Oh, wow.
And that was actually at La Cocina. She interacted with the little girl spirit there, and she didn't even realize it was a ghost. But they do know what I do. I explain it to them that for the most part, there's really nothing bad that goes on, and that they're in charge. And if there's ever a time that they get scared, they're to just tell it, don't do this because I'm scared. So they kind of have, that understanding. But I have like a very strict rule, and it sounds weird, but I do tell the ghosts that do come and follow me home that if they scare my kids, they're not allowed to stay. And so far it seems to work. So we'll see if it continues to work.
Wow. Wow.
any questions from the chat, fellows? Write them in, and I'll get to them.
What's the scariest thing? I know we're going to go to break in a minute, but what's one of the most scary situations you've been in?
Probably the fact that I took one case one time to where the ghost that was there literally made me feel sick. It was an overwhelming feeling, and it was just like I was feeling fine, and then all of a sudden just completely sick, where I had to actually remove myself from the situation for a few minutes.
Yeah.
And, get myself to, feel better, and then go back and face it again and let it know that it didn't have permission to do that.
Right.
That was probably one of the worst.
Yeah. That's, I had one time I had that where I lived in this house in New York, and if I went into the kitchen, I always got a stomach ache, and I was always uncomfortable walking through the dining room to get to the kitchen. It was this old Victorian old home, and I never associated it with that until later. When you're like, okay, that's interesting. Every time you'd walk in the kitchen, you'd get a stomach ache. But now that you don't live there anymore, you're fine. It's little things that kind of add up later that you see sometimes, I think.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. So now you went from Toledo, Ohio to Arizona. When did you move to Arizona?
In 1987. Sounds like a long time ago.
Okay, so you've been there a long time. Okay, so when you got this tours, how long have you had the tours now?
Since 2013. I've been doing this for going on 4 years now. Yeah.
Okay, so when I come to Arizona, I'm going to look you up because I'm coming to Arizona, I think, in a couple weeks, and I want to come see you for sure.
Oh, very cool. I would love that.
Wouldn't that be fun?
Yeah, it would be.
It's perfect time for a break. On the other side of break, we'll hear some of the haunted locations that Becky gives a tour of, and we'll be right back with more Haunted Chronicles. Welcome back to the Haunted Chronicles. We're talking with Becky Gydesen. Thank you to everyone in the chat. Brock, Dr. Dave, Indy Dwayne, Kara, Vicky, Kate, Sprinkle, Susan, Mary, Maggie, Desi, Doug, Brian, Rick, Nicholas, and Max, and assorted others. And thanks for everyone who shared the page this week again. You know what? I want to say one thing. I always thank Ghosts and All Things Paranormal page. That's Christine Hayes' page, who's a former guest. She had about 10 or 20,000 followers on that page, and they took it away from her for no reason whatsoever.
Oh.
She never posted anything controversial or anything. It was just like paranormal stuff, and she doesn't know why, and they won't answer her. And it's the weirdest thing ever. And
That's crazy.
Yeah. It's really sad getting that many followers and then not really getting an answer.
Yeah, that's rude.
Well, welcome back.
Yes.
Where were we?
Back. We were with Becky, and we got to hear more about the tours.
The tour.
Okay.
She's there.
What do you want to know?
Some of the places and the story behind them on the tour.
Okay. Well, we hit about a dozen locations on this tour. The tour lasts 2 hours. It is a walking tour, so we always tell people to be prepared because we're walking a lot. But it's all in downtown Tucson. We start at La Cocina, which I've already talked about. Some of the other places we go to is the old courthouse, which is no longer a courthouse. I believe they're remodeling it into a museum right now. One of the very popular buildings on the tour, unfortunately, does not want to admit they are haunted, but everybody in Tucson knows that they are haunted, and that would be the Pioneer Building. Now, back December 20th, 1970, the Pioneer was a hotel, and it caught on fire, and 29 people ended up dying in that fire.
Oh.
Yeah,
Ooh.
Major tragedy for that place. Now, even the owners of the hotel died in the fire.
Oh, my goodness.
remodeling started in 1977, and the haunts of the hotel started as soon as they started the remodeling. Unfortunately, Pioneer does not allow any type of paranormal investigator into the building. They don't like to admit the hauntings at all. But anyone who has ever worked in because it's an office building now, anyone who works in there or any security will tell you story after story. And a lot of my stories came from 2 security guards that were the night guards there at the hotel. And they would tell me how they actually chased down a full body apparition, only to when they actually go to catch it, it just disappeared right in front of them.
Oh, that's cool.
And there's a lady that's on the 6th floor who dresses in all white. If she likes you, you will have a pleasant smell around you. If she doesn't like you, you will have a foul smell around you.
How did the guards describe the figure that they were chasing around? Did they give any details?
They actually said that it just looked like, someone like in their 20s. It looked like they actually had like on a backpack. So they were thinking that someone had like come in to steal something, and that's why they were like chasing him down. But as soon as they got there, it just completely disappeared.
So it looked like someone could have been the present day.
Yeah, almost, yeah.
You know what? I like that because every time you hear a ghost story, they were wearing Victorian dress. It's like nobody's walking around with jeans and a Green Day T-shirt.
Yeah.
Yeah.
A Green Day.
Nickelback T-shirt.
Yeah.
Yeah, they've had so many experiences. In fact, one of the guards had a nickname that only his mother would call him. And he had that whispered into his ear while doing his rounds at the building. So I got story after story, and we can't even tell all the stories on that stop of the tour because we would end up spending the entire 2 hours just talking about that building. So there's so many stories there that I could not add them all into the tour. I was able to get into the building, not to do a paranormal investigation, but to just tour it with, my one friend. Unfortunately, one of the guards did pass away, and he's no longer there. The other guard is no longer working there, but while they were there, I was able to tour the building. And I did put a little recorder in my pocket, and just even doing the tour of the building, I got EVPs without even trying to communicate with them.
Oh, my gosh.
So that building is definitely very haunted, but they don't want to talk about it, which is the sad part. And my theory for them being so haunted, they don't know who or what caused the fire till this day.
Really?
They had arrested someone. Yeah, they had arrested someone, okay? And back in I think it was like 14, somewhere around there, it was a couple years ago, he was acquitted of the crime. He spent all those years in jail, got acquitted, and they still haven't figured out who did it or what did it. So all these people have no clue what caused that fire that they died in. So in my theory,
God.
that's why they're still stuck.
I got a project for you. all EVPs, who caused the fire, and we'll solve the mystery from beyond.
You know what? That would be a great. I'm sure she's done that. I'm sure you've asked who started the fire. Wow, that's great.
Well, unfortunately, I can't really go in there and do an EVP session to try to find out. But
so they won't let you in.
Oh,
so you can't even. That's right. You can't even go in because they don't want to talk about it. Mm-hmm. They won't let you in.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. And the one time I did go in, like I said, I just had a recorder kind of in my pocket touring the building. So.
Yeah.
We have a question from the chat room for you.
Okay.
What is Becky's plans for the future with her company?
Oh, very good question. I am actually expanding my company. I am currently working with Gray Line Bus Tours here in Tucson. Gray Line Bus Tours here has been locally owned and operated for 100 years. And we are putting together some more paranormal tours to where we will be driving to different locations instead of just walking.
That's so
They
cool.
gave me the okay. Yeah, they basically said, as many paranormal tours as you can put together, put them together. And so that's what I'm doing. I just finished a driving tour. And with that driving tour, we're going to set that in motion and get it going here hopefully really soon because it just got completed. The next one I am working on is a haunted history tour, which is going to include some museums and hopefully a cemetery. And I have several tours in mind, and Gray Line said to go for it, and that's what I'm doing. And hopefully within this year, I'll have about 3 or 4 more tours running with them.
That's really exciting. Good for you.
Yeah, I'm very excited about that. So It should be really fun, and I think it'll help to get out there more. And I definitely, get to meet more people by doing this, and I love doing that.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. So now, how many people are in your group?
I have a few people. My husband, of course, is kind of like the co-founder. He's the one that, basically put all the funds into the team. If it wasn't for him, I wouldn't have any of the equipment.
Yeah.
But like he funded the team. But I have my co-leader is Miela. Maela's been with me since the very first case. She went on that undisclosed location with me. She's been with me since day one. And then I have Dave, who is also my co-host on Mysteries Explained. So him and I do the radio show together. Mm-hmm. And Dave is my evidence review manager. And I have Debbie, who is my research manager, and she does an awesome job on the monitors every time we go and do an investigation. Mm-hmm. And then I also have Alette. Dave is the newest member. Alette has been on for about 2 years now, and Debbie, I think, for about a year. So we've been together for, a while, and we all get along and we all click really well. So that's very important. And we all do things outside of the team too. Like they help me with my tours and things like that. In fact, they're going out with me tomorrow to help me put together one of the new tours. So,
have you investigated any cemeteries?
Not with the team, but one time when Will and I went up to Tombstone, we went to the original cemetery in Tombstone, not the Boot Hill tourist attraction, but the actual cemetery. And we did an investigation there. It was really, really cold because we did it in December, and yes, Arizona can get cold. Mm-hmm. But we did get a couple weird things that happened. One of them was we heard a really weird noise coming from a grave site. And as soon as we got to that grave site, it stopped, and we couldn't figure out what the noise was. It wasn't a bug. It wasn't anything like that. It was just this weird sound. And as soon as we hit a certain grave, it completely stopped. It's like we followed it there, and then it stopped. And then there's another one that there's times that I get pulled a certain direction, or I kind of get like an empath ability sometimes, and I got pulled to this one direction, and we noticed that the flowers were like vandalized and messed up. So we went ahead and we corrected it. And as soon as we corrected those flowers, they shifted. There's nothing to make those flowers shift, but they shifted as soon as we had corrected it.
Wow.
So that was odd too.
I got a question.
So we did have a couple things.
Sorry, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
Oh, I have a question, just only because we've done a few UFO shows in the last couple of months, and I just know that your area is, it seems like it's really active with UFO phenomenon. Have you ever witnessed anything like that?
Not here in Arizona, which is funny because, yes, there's a lot And I hear it all the time that there's a ton of
Yeah.
UFO activity here. Personally, I haven't here in town, but I did when I lived in Ohio.
Ooh.
Yeah.
What
Tell
happened in
us.
Ohio?
Yeah, tell us. We love this.
Quite honestly, I don't really remember all of it, to be honest with you. I just remember I was young. I was probably about 7 or 8 years old. I was playing in the yard. I remember looking up, seeing this weird round object, and then the next thing I remember was I was in my house. That's all I remember of it.
Oh, wow. So you there was a time lapse then.
Yeah.
Becky got abducted.
Yep.
Back.
I don't
heard it
know.
here
Maybe I
first.
did. Maybe that explains a lot.
Oh my God. That's crazy.
Yeah. Glad I asked.
Yeah.
I was afraid. Get to know. Becky, tell us a little bit about your show and what subjects you talk about and how they can hear you.
On Mysteries Explained.
Yes.
I just started the radio show last, I think it was July, I think is when it all started. It was actually really weird because in all honesty, I never dream of doing any of this. It's all just kind of led me. This path just kind of came to me. I never thought I would have my own radio show. I hooked up with this guy on Facebook, and he goes, "How would you like to be my co-host?" And I'm like, okay, cool. I don't know, sure. You want to interview me, something? He's all, no, just show up to the studio. I was like, okay. I did like 2 shows with him, and he's all, "You're great at this." So I'm like, thanks. He goes, "You're on your own." I'm like, what? No, wait, what? But luckily, Dave, my evidence review manager, he stepped in. He's like, "I'll come. I'll do this with you." We started doing it. We clicked really well on the air. We make each other laugh. I mean, I don't think there is a show where I'm not busting up laughing at him for some reason or another. And we just started, asking people, "Hey, you want to be our guest?" and all this stuff. And we've been starting to get guests on, and I am so excited because we have some members of the TAPS team that are going to be our guest in March. So that is very
that's
exciting.
exciting. Who's going to be on?
Yes. Tracy, who is the lead investigator of the home team of TAPS, and then we actually have one of the stars from Ghost Hunters, Sherry. She's going to be on the show, and I am so thrilled because TAPS is what I based Tucson Ghost Society on, was their foundation and their rules. That's what I, based my team on. So it's such an honor, and I'm so excited, and it's like I'm a little kid jumping up and down about that. But very exciting. Mysteries Explained is on IPOradio.com, and IPOradio.com is actually a local station, but you can listen to it online. And I think the station manager, Nate, actually just finished an application that you can download on your phone. I think he was working on something like that.
Oh, good.
But we're on every Thursday. Yeah, we're on every Thursday from 4 to 7 p.m. Mountain Time. We're one of the only shows on that station that don't deal with heavy metal bands and all this stuff. So we're kind of like a different little show for them. But apparently it's working. Apparently, they like us there. And I know IPO Radio, the manager, Nate, said that over the last 30 days they had 4 million listeners.
Oh,
so
my
I was
gosh.
very happy.
Becky, yes.
I don't know
That's
if that was my
fantastic.
show, but yeah, just the fact that 4 million people clicked on IPO Radio in the last 30 days is pretty impressive.
Yeah, that's very
So I
cool.
asked him how many were listening to my show, but he didn't have an exact number. So I'm like, well, as long as it's more than 2 people. Because Dave and I always teased around that there's only our team members that listen to us. So we always, tease saying that we only had 2 listeners, but
yeah,
who knows?
Oh my gosh.
Megan, if you could have, I always get this question. If you could have any guest on, who would it be? Your dream guest.
Grant Wilson.
He's so
Jimmy.
cool.
Mine would be Jimmy.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I really like Grant Wilson a lot.
Yeah,
Yeah.
He's cool.
I adore
He's the good
him.
one.
He's cool. He's responded to me on Twitter a few times, and he's just really cool. And I would love to just talk with him and have him on the show. That would be awesome.
Oh, Grant is a frequent listener. Grant, get in touch with Becky.
Yeah.
That would be awesome.
I don't think he really listens. I just said that.
No, but we just like to pretend.
Actually, he does listen. He just sent me a message saying that he heard you say that. No. Yeah, I did. I got to meet Jason and Grant, and I definitely, I think, bonded as a lot of people did with Grant. He's infectious. It's like that personality style that you just want to be around him.
Yeah.
And then he starts playing piano out of nowhere, like a.
Oh my God, he's amazing. He's a concert pianist. He writes his own music. It's amazing.
Yes,
he's cool.
Yeah,
and it's good, really good. Yeah. So Becky, we're almost out of time, but I wanted to ask you in Tucson, in your area, is there one place that you would love to investigate? I know the one on your tour they won't let you in, but is there a place, another location?
There are just so many haunted locations out here that I would love to get into. The Pioneer is one of them, one of the major ones. But there's just so many that I couldn't even start to name them all. I have investigated a lot. A lot of them have been really cool. Some of them that I haven't been able to include on my walking tour, I am putting on my driving tour. One of those are the Museum of the Horse Soldier. Another one is the first location that's undisclosed, but we're going to drive by it anyway. So, I'm really trying to expand out, and I would love to just, anyone that would let me come in and investigate, I would love to do that. I'm not picky. Sure. I'll go in and I'll investigate.
Well, I may be down there in June. Well, actually, no, not June. In February, the end of February, I think. So I have to come and take your tour. I have to.
Oh, very cool.
We'll go live.
Yeah.
There we go.
That would be so cool. That would be cool.
Yeah, we can totally do that.
All right. Awesome. Oh, just before we run out of
time. As long as it's not next week.
No, this will be late February, like late.
Okay. Yeah, because
I'll message you. I'll let you know
week.
For sure.
Okay.
Oh,
I'm out of town next week.
Yep, we got a minute or two left. I just want to say next week we have Cindy Harper back on. She's been a guest maybe 2 years ago, and the week after that we have Barry Webster from Res Squatching. There's a Bigfoot Hunters.
Oh.
And then episode 150, we're gonna have special guest Dr. Dave Erickson.
I'm excited.
Special Lollapalooza.
Yes.
So Becky, one more time for anybody to find you. What's the best, easiest way to find you?
TucsonGhostTour.com, or they can look me up on my Facebook page, which is under Tucson Ghost Company.
All right. Wow. And we're already out of time. Holy mackerel.
This is crazy. I know.
Thank
so fast.
you so much for joining us, Becky.
Thank you.
Yeah, Beck. Yeah.
Oh, thank you for having me.
Absolutely.
I
enjoyed
it. It was fun.
Thank you.
Oh, thank you.
Good night,
so
fellas. See you next week.
Good night.
Bye, everybody. Bye, Becky.
Bye.
Bye.